So you may have heard about the British Army's recruitment campaign aimed at millennial snowflakes and Generation Z gamers. The idea being, I think, to encourage people like that to join and to make something of themselves. Turn boys into men, as it were. Well, girls into women now that we've got women stampeding the recruitment office to join the SAS. But I think the term millennial, the use of the term millennial, and this isn't a censorship argument, this is just my take on it, is a little bit wrong, because millennials have been old enough to join the military in the UK now since, I think the oldest members were born in 1985, the last time I checked, so 2001, almost 20 years ago. And it's important to remember that I might be wrong here, but I think millennials as a generation have suffered more combat deaths than any generation since the World War II generation. Now, I don't think that makes millennials a military generation or a generation of warriors. The only generations I think that can make that claim are the generations that served in one or both of the world wars, because those wars were horrific. And I say this as someone who wasn't even there. Those two generations put every generation since to absolute shame. And yes, that does include Generation X and Generation Z. But obviously, millennials have put in slightly more as a generation than any generation since World War II. Like I say, I don't think that earns us the title of most military generation, which is just as well, because I don't think we'd get it. Although I can just imagine Generation Z getting that honour, if so much as one member of their generation dies in combat. In fact, I could just imagine them getting that honour if one member of their generation even signs up to join the army or something. I can actually imagine like some sort of, how Generation Z seem to be having a lot of smoke blown up their backsides right now. Everything they do is revolutionary, and they're applauded for things that they may one day go on to do, rather than, the age-old system of, you get patted on the back when you've achieved, not before. I can just imagine something like, millennials will only join the military because it's free bed and board, and they're not independent enough, they need someone to give them orders, whereas Generation Z joining the military is because they're war heroes. In fact, they're war heroes the moment they step onto the parade, or whatever it's called. You can tell that I'm not a military man. I nearly was. But I don't think this, unless there's something I've missed, I don't think the campaign is insulting. I think if you're insulted by a campaign poster, then you're not going to be too happy when you're actually in training and you've got some sergeant barking orders at you. They're not known for, the non-commissioned officers are not known for being friendly and pally. They're quite known for being ruthless. I think there's a point to their ruthlessness, but they're not polite about it. If you turn up on parade wearing the wrong, or wearing your uniform out of place, I think you're going to be beasted, I think they call it, unless that's probably an old term now. But it's just strange to me how the millennial title is being brought into this. But then again, it could just be that mistake a lot of people make, where they forget that millennials are not as young as they first thought they were, or maybe it's a sign that millennials and Generation Z are probably more similar than they are different. But yeah, the campaign poster itself, I think it's just a pretty typical campaign poster, recruitment poster, and it's obviously done its job because people are talking about it now.